Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Law Life podcast. We're here with Megan
Bias.
Valles, a former CA bar style student, a resilient survivor of breast cancer. Bring out the tissues, a practicing attorney. Her story is so inspiring. You're going to be moved. You're definitely going to laugh because her and I's energy is kind of, pneumatic. What's the word? Uh,
We're a
Magnetic. That's the
master
word.
model.
Yeah. And here we go. So, Megan, talk to me about the beginning of your journey of going to law school. Like, why did you want to go to law school? What was the inspiration there?
This is gonna sound really cheesy. I loved all of those Law and Order shows,
Me too.
CSI, all of that. I don't
Hmm.
know, it's like
Hmm.
that looks so fun. And I was
Was that from a
working,
young age? Like you watched like
yeah,
Dateline at 10
yeah,
years old?
love
Okay.
Dateline, love all
Me
of those.
too. I can watch it all night long. Like, yeah, be an
And I was
investigator.
working at retail selling sunglasses and handbags at the time, like right after college. And my friend was like, didn't you want to go to law school? Like, let's get on that. Like, and so that's when I was like, all right, it's time to get a big old job now. Let's start working towards that process. So that's
Hmm.
how I got into law school.
Okay. And where did you go to law school?
I went to the University of West Los Angeles. They have a
Okay.
classic
Nice.
campus here in the Valley, and then I also attended their LAX campus as well.
Okay. And how was law school for you? Was it kind of smooth sailing? Were you working?
It was exhausting. I was
Mhm.
8 to 5 full time at a law firm, and then 6 to 10 classes Monday through Friday. So that was when it.
Wow. So you did like a night program, like a
Yeah,
part-time kind of night program. So
yeah.
you worked all day in a law firm and then at night you went to classes. So
Right.
how long did that take you? Like 4 years?
4 years. Yeah, it took me 4 years.
Okay. And during that time, you're living in Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley, right?
Right.
And are you liking law school? Like any major obstacles during that time? Or was it just, I mean, obstacles is kind of, a broad word because law school in itself can be challenging. And I think we all have those moments of why am I doing this? How am I going to keep going? Right. What was your favorite subject?
Favorite subject was torts, hence why I was a
Hmm.
PI. But
Okay.
uh, law school was different than undergrad. Undergrad, I was in a sorority. I had a lot of
Mhm.
friends.
I
There was
can
a lot
tell
of
you were in a sorority.
there was a
Yes.
lot of like work hard, play hard balance going on, and
Hmm.
law school completely different. It's strict business. Like you don't have it's or in my law school in particular. Like we didn't have like a barrister's ball, and we didn't like it was a
Right.
commuter school. So people were there who were attending that particular law school were working people. They had their husbands, their kids, and all of that. Like I didn't have any of
Hmm.
that, but I
Right.
had a full-time job and that was just enough for
Yeah.
me to handle. I don't even know how people who have husbands and kids even got through law school. Like props to
I
them.
mean,
Like
well, my last year I had my son, and I had a C-section with him, and then I had to go to the mock trial to graduate. And I don't even know. We just do it. Women. This
superwoman
is
over here.
we're in March. This is Women's History Month, and it's a big part of your story, right? That strong
Absolutely.
resilience that we'll get to. Um, Men as well, dads do it, but women I feel like take on a lot more at times, and we just can fight through things at a very high level. Not that men can't, men are resilient as well. But
Right.
okay, so then you go to law school. Law school's pretty intense but not too
Yeah.
bad. You're working, and then you graduate, and then what happens? You have the bar exam waiting for you. So
Yeah.
talk to me
I
about
thought
that.
I was done. Like, I mean, you have your strong subjects in law school and then you have your weaker ones. At that time that I graduated and I was studying for the bar, I
Mhm.
had no idea that I had to remember all of these subjects that I went in one year and out the other. I burned those books. I was like, this is not like undergrad where you
Yeah.
think, oh, I never have to see these subjects ever again. Like I'm done.
Right.
That comes back
15
to haunt
subjects.
you at the
Mhm.
bar exam. And for
Mhm.
me, that was wills and trusts and con law.
Mhm.
Haunted. And I mean, I did what
In your
I did
dreams
what
that
I
night,
had
con
to
law
do.
was just like kind of creeping
Oh
up,
my God.
going, Megan, we're gonna, what area of con law would you say do you remember? Just all of
I'm
it.
not,
The Dormant
not
Commerce
it's,
Clause,
it's all a blur right
all
now.
right, privileges
But
and immunities, all that stuff, the scrutiny
what I
level.
yeah,
Mhm.
I didn't
All
have a
that.
good foundation of those subjects because I mean, I did what I had to do to pass in law school. I got in, I got
Yeah.
out. That was it. So little did I
Wait, can we
know.
actually, I want to talk about that for a moment. You did what you had to do. So
Yeah,
for our viewers that maybe are considering law school or had a similar experience, so sometimes you get into law school and you could have been a straight A student in undergrad, right? But then
yeah,
all of a sudden, I remember because when I graduated USC, I graduated with honors and I had a very high GPA. And then I get to my first year of law school and it's like
reality
B
check.
minus, C plus, contracts kicked my ass beyond.
Yeah,
And now I can litigate a contract, I can draft a contract, you name it. But I remember getting low grades and going, WTF, like what the hell is going on here? And so speak about that because I think a lot of law students, right, that are high achievers, pretty much all of us are to take on this endeavor. And then we're in law school and we're going, you're freezing a little bit, but we're in law school and we're going, am I made out for this, right? Like, is this something that I should keep doing? So your mentality was like, I just need to pass my class, right?
yeah. Like, I mean, I was always told like your employers don't ask your grade, what you got in torts or criminal law. Like you just need to pass and
Yeah.
ultimately pass the bar exam. Like that's
Yes.
you're an attorney when you pass the bar exam, no matter what. So, and I was working full time, so I didn't have the luxury of, oh, I have an 8 hour day to brief my cases and write this
Mm-hmm.
amazing like outline and all of that. Like I
Mm-hmm.
literally
Mm-hmm.
was minimum. And I didn't even understand like half of my subjects. I had my best friend in law school, like the night before the final exam. I'm like, help me, give me a final rundown. I
Mm-hmm.
need to pass. And because I was that one shy student in class, believe it or not, I was very shy. I was
You?
afraid to like raise
I
my
can
hand.
relate to that. Mm-hmm.
Like if I had a question, I would be on my MacBook and like typing the question to my friend on iMessage saying,
No
can you ask
way.
for me? Yeah.
Oh my God, I freaking love that. Oh,
Yeah.
that is hysterical. Well,
Like,
I think that mentality is going to help a lot of law students right now to hear that because I think the perception of getting straight A's as a law student
you don't need it.
is not
No.
necessary unless I don't know, maybe the big law firms look at that, but you can definitely be a successful lawyer
Yes.
and do whatever you want to do in practice with not having straight A's and even high B's in law school and keep
Yeah.
going even through that. Okay. So you get out of law school and here comes the bar exam and you don't like wills and trusts. You're having nightmares about constitutional law, right? And then you take the bar exam. Do you remember what you did your first time to prepare?
I did Barbary. Everyone does Barbary. Everyone's like, do Barbary, do Barbary. And it's the cookie cutter law school. I mean, bar exam
Yeah.
course. And I was like,
It's the commercial bar prep that
$500.
everyone's been going to forever. Yes.
Yeah. I was just
Okay.
like, okay, let's put on the credit card. Like, I mean, mommy and daddy aren't helping me out with any of this. So
Hmm.
let's do it.
Okay.
And I remember going through Barbary, still not understanding half of the subjects. The outlines weren't clicking in my head. The light bulbs were off at that time. I
Hmm.
was terrified of the bar exam.
Hmm.
And
Can
I
you
also,
elaborate on that? What were, I mean, obviously it's the fear of not passing, right? That's
yeah,
was that the fear or was it something else? Was it more just the prep in itself, having to pause your life? What was the fear?
there was a couple things. So you finish law school and you have this amazing accomplishment and you want to celebrate with your friends and you want to go out and people travel the world and do all of these things. And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, you're back studying 12 hours a day for 3 or 4
Right
months.
away, like you graduate and then it's like boom, right to the chair of
What do you go
studying.
for? Yeah.
Right.
And then also there's like the fear that, oh, the California bar is the hardest in the United States. Like
Yeah.
they have
No
a 2%
pressure.
passage rate
Right.
and you have to
A
get
little
over
higher
words.
than that, but yeah, somewhere between a 25 to 30%
I
for
have a
most.
big fear of how am I going to be perceived if I don't pass on the first time or like I'm a
Mm,
failure. Like I
that's
don't think I
real.
do well,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I
so
don't think
we'll talk
anyone
about
does, right? I mean,
it.
I think most lawyers, law students are type A personalities and we're very used to getting our way. And when we put our minds to something, typically it works for us, right? That's how we got through those initial years. And then here comes the bar exam and it's like, just kidding. You're not as
Yeah.
smart as you think you are. But
Yeah.
really, in essence, and I can say as being a bar exam coach, tutor for almost 15 years now, it's a game, right? You're playing a game
Absolutely.
of like chess and
And I remember
strategy.
you saying this in bar prep. You have to learn how to play their game.
Yes. Yeah, you have to, well, you have to learn it. And the problem is a lot of the courses don't teach it. So, and even law school, they're just, there's such a passive understanding or kind of preparation of just law and application with not a lot of strategy involved. So we have a lot of applicants law. So you go to Barbary, your experience is very fast paced, right? It seems, and kind of lost. And did you go into the test feeling any which way prepared?
I felt like I was prepared as I could be at that time. I said, you know what, I'm going to
Mhm.
give it my best and we'll see what happens. I mean,
Okay.
and so yeah, I went into it with a positive mindset and I'm like,
Mhm.
let's do this, let's give it a shot and we'll see
'Cause
what
you're such a
happens.
positive person.
I am,
So
I am.
you were like, "I'm going to do my best with this."
Correct.
Despite maybe not feeling great, but I know I'm smart. I know I studied the material. I'm gonna go in, and what happens? You take it your first time. How was the actual taking of the first time? Do you remember anything? Any highlights?
I remember it. Well, this was in person.
Okay.
So I just remember it being like an all day thing. You can't, get up or walk around anywhere.
Can't
It was
move. I'm just kidding.
physically exhausting.
Exhausting.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exhausting is the best way I couldn't describe it. I mean,
It's a grueling, so did you take 2 days or 3 days?
2
2
days,
days.
2
You
days.
took the
I
2
got
day,
lucky,
right.
yes.
Yes, I took a 3 day, but 2 days, 3 days, still an exhausting format of an exam. And you take a July bar, right? I'm assuming right out of law school. Okay. Do you remember what year that was?
2021,
2021.
2022.
Okay. So
Yeah,
not so far ago. And
it was
then,
after law school.
okay. And then for the July bar, the results come out in November. So it didn't go your way the first time, right?
I was devastated.
Okay.
I took it really hard. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't pass. My best friend in law school also didn't pass. So we were in like a mental like low for a while.
So when you let's explore that because so many applicants feel that way, and applicants feel that way even going in knowing that they're not prepared well. And it is like you log in, they give you like a code, and then it either says your name appears on the pass list, or I think it just says nothing. Like, does it say your name does not appear on the pass list? What does it say if you don't pass? Do you remember?
I
It's
think it
kind of
shows you
like
your score.
brutal.
I don't even remember. I think it shows
You-
you your score and it says something like, yeah, if you have a score, it means you didn't pass. It
okay,
means you tried.
right. Right. So okay, so that's a little bit more modern, I think. I mean, I passed my first time, but you log in the first time and then it says your score and you're like, shoot. And so what was the actual emotion? Do you remember that you felt? Was it
It was like
anger?
it was more like disappointment, and I was just
Mm,
like, darn. Like I mean, I wasn't overly confident where I was like, oh, I got this in the bag. I'm gonna pass. I was like, I'm gonna
mhm.
give it my best shot, and I was like, I worked so hard for like 3-4 months, and I was like,
Yeah.
that I didn't do enough to get me across that threshold. So I was like, okay, if that's what hard work, what I thought was looked like to me,
Mm,
I'm
mhm.
gonna have to work twice as hard to do it the second time around.
Got it. And do you remember your like not necessarily your scores, but do you remember was it like the essays, the PT that were low, the multiple choice, or was it kind of all around?
It was all around. My
I could
essays were low.
probably pull up the score sheet. I probably have it, but we're gonna
I know you did, yeah.
we're
It was
gonna
low.
like reserve that because it's just so boring to even look at, and it's so you're so far removed from that score sheet. But for the viewers that have not taken the bar exam yet, they give you your score report, which really makes no sense to most applicants. It's convoluted. It's just 50s and 60s if you don't pass, usually on essays. Maybe you go up a little bit. 65 is passing on the essays and PT, and then you're looking into either a high 1300, 1400s on the multiple choice. So you were kind of all around needing improvement in all three areas from what you
Absolutely.
recall. Okay. And so what was your game plan? Because I think a lot of applicants at that time, or some, say to themselves, should I wait? Should I take the exam right away? The next exam from November is the February exam. And what was your kind of train of thought?
After, I think I gave myself like a week to like mope around and be sad and
Okay.
depressed.
Important.
My mentality, my positive mentality kicked back in. It's like, okay, stop crying. We're gonna get up and do this again. Like, let's
Love
go.
that.
What are we gonna do different than last time? Because that's a big thing for me is don't do the same thing over and over again. It's clearly not gonna help you. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, what are my options? Obviously, the finances were a big consideration for me.
Yeah.
One of my law school professors was like, I do a small little side hustle. I help bar applicants prep. It's a smaller course. I'll give you the essays to practice, yada, yada, yada. I take, I think, like 10 students and that's it. And I'm like, oh,
those little groups scare me a little bit. They scare me a little bit, those little groups. Because sometimes, I'll tell you why. It's not that the professors aren't necessarily qualified, but just because you teach contracts doesn't mean you know how to teach the whole gamut of the bar exam. And so I get a lot of applicants from those little study groups in those law schools with the professor doing the bar prep. And unless you're in the trenches with bar applicants and really understand the totality of the needs of what can happen, it's not always the best preparation. I'm not saying it can't work. You just want to be weary of that. Okay. So did you take that little small group? Did you go into that? Okay.
That's also when I wasn't as focused as well. I was mingling around with these little boys and wasn't fully focused.
Okay. So while you're taking it your second time, you're dating.
Okay. And my mentality was, well, if we work really hard from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., I can go out at night from 6 to 8.
Ooh, that's a gamble. Yeah, that's a gamble.
Don't follow don't do what I did.
Megan. Okay, so the thing is, yeah, you definitely don't want to party or go out too much. I mean, I'm not saying don't date, but when you're taking the exam, you do have to be focused. But in your defense, I mean, you come out of law school and then you go to the bar exam, you give it your all, you wait a few months for results, then it doesn't go your way, and then you have to take it again. You also want, I mean, you're young, you're beautiful, you want to have a life, you want to go out, you want to have fun. So it makes sense that you would kind of make this structure for yourself, right? And you don't have Shauna at the time going, Megan, that's not a good idea. I see you on Instagram.
Don't do it.
Stop going out. Get out of Hollywood. I know it's fun out here, but let's buckle down. Okay. So you're in this study group. So this is your second time now taking it. And I love that you own that too, right? You're like, I know that I wasn't as focused.
As focused as I should have been.
Okay. Absolutely. So that's your second time. We don't need to harp on that. And then you take it again.
Yeah, second time, actually, I just want to add that I went into the bar exam already knowing, okay, this is what happens when you have to sit, the whole procedure, I knew what it was like. So there was very minimal nerves walking into the bar exam as far as a procedure went and what I expected from the proctors and everything like that.
You've been there, done that. Right.
I was laughing with my best friend at the time in law school. Like, we were fine going into it.
Okay.
Obviously, we didn't pass the second time around.
Both of you don't pass again.
No.
Wait, was she going out dating with you and like double dating?
No, she was actually like the one that was home, and she was like, she would see my location on iMessage, and she's like, I told you to stay home. You're supposed to be studying. I was like,
we should have had her on too, but maybe next time we'll do a follow up. Okay, so she takes it, you take it the second time, and you both don't pass again. And what are the emotions like this time?
Worse than the first time. It was even a bigger slap in the face, and I was just like, man, like, am I really not cut out for these? You start to second guess yourself. And then you start to feel guilty because I'm like, okay, I know what I did wrong. I know I shouldn't have been going out. I shouldn't have done this, or I should have done that. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but sorry to cut you off, but let's talk about the preparation this second time, because you took this professor, this small group setting. Did the professor like look at your exam? Did you change up your prep at all? Like, what was the discrepancy? Because I think I know a lot of applicants go like from bar prep to bar prep, and they're like, okay, well, this didn't work, but there has to be a change in the approach, right? So there's a lot of different types of formats to bar prep. And what I do, of course, is very interpersonal and interconnected. And we're looking at the totality of an applicant's life and work, study balance and the strategy and all the prep. But not everyone does that. Most courses don't. So, in that small group setting, was there a shift in the preparation from, let's say, the Barbary format? Did you like kind of change it up at all with the professor, or what was the
There was
preparation
a lot of
like?
like, let's take past bar exam questions and let's discuss it together as a group. What are the issues? And
Mm-hmm.
then be okay, go home and do an hour essay time bar. There was not a lot of accountability of
Mm,
it, of like you need to do this at this time. And then I was still also trying to learn the law at that time too, because I still had my weak subjects. I still didn't have like
mm-hmm.
a grasp on a few of the subjects that I was still struggling.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be learning the subjects at the time of bar prep. You already need
Mm.
to have a good understanding, either
A
from
good
law school.
foundation.
Yeah,
Yes, that's the
that's
importance of
where
early prep. And every time I stress for applicants to, start early, there's always like, well, it's so early, right? We're so far removed from the bar, but the months really do catch up. And then all of a sudden you're like 5 months into early prep and you're like, I only have maybe a grasp on 50% of the material. It's a lot of law. We're talking about 15 subjects. So, okay, you take your second time. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. And then what's Megan's mentality at this point? Where are you at this
this
point?
point I was like, I cannot afford to take this any more times than 3 times. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't have
Three
any more
times the
money. I'm
charm.
already maxed out. Like I'm like, and I physically like cannot, like mentally also cannot. I don't want to be studying and wasting 4 months of my life again doing this. I'm like, let's get it done this time.
Yeah. Because at this point from graduation, it's a year of bar exams back to back.
Yeah, I was back to back bar exams. So I think we're
About
now
a
in
year.
2020. We're now, yeah, it's now like January, February 2020.
Uh 2020. I thought you said you started 2021, but something like that. It's
Mm.
okay. My brain farts fog, like, get the best of me all day long. Okay, but something in that range. So you take it July, let's say 21, you take it February 22, hypothetically,
That's
whatever.
closer to mine because I graduated in 2019. So
Mm.
I was bar prepping
So you
like
took July
20.
19 and February 20.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Uh-huh.
then you're like, I'm only going to do this one more time. And then you
Yeah.
find CA bar
I was
style.
like, I did some like Google research. I'm like, what are the top like bar prep courses? And I laid like 6 or 7 out. I did the pros and the cons for each of them.
Oh, whoa. You
And
did your research.
yeah, I was like, this is the last time I'm taking it. I was like, we're
Hmm.
going to get it right this time. So,
Understandably so. Yeah.
and what I really liked when I came across your course, I think I found you on like Facebook or Instagram or something like that.
Hmm.
And like Shauna gives personalized tutoring one on one. She'll look at your past bar exams and tell you where you messed up, where you did good, and create a personalized individual plan to get you across that finish line. And I was like, that's my girl.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think when applicants, and thank you for saying that, but when applicants do the research on different tutors, it's important to have that connectivity. It's almost like it's hard to sometimes have like through a computer, right? Or through social media, but that's why the more and more you can research and find out about the tutor and know your personality and what you're looking for at that point. And that is a really crucial point because when you're taking it multiple times, there has to be a moment like I'll tell an inquiry to like have a conversation in the mirror. How much
Yeah.
of the prior prep did you really do? What was missing for you in that preparation? Was it the coaching, a personal level of attention? Did you feel like you were just a number in a class? There's so many variables, and you have to be really in tune with your needs. Now, sometimes you don't know, right? Sometimes you're not sure and you need someone to guide you. But even just a little soul searching to kind of get to the bottom of what's taking multiple times to take this and what you're potentially going to need to really get it done is crucial. So you enroll in the course, and I'm so happy you did because you're on this show right now and you're one of my favorite past applicants.
That little paper back there is because of you. So
Aw, you're so sweet.
I love that.
I mean, your wall is like I'm so just inspired by you, but I'm proud of you and I'm proud of all my applicants. But of course, just like in life, there's certain people you have these connections with, right? And I have strong connections with my students. And so you take the exam, and what would you say? um, during this third time now? So is your focus back? You're feeling
100%. So this was during COVID, during 2020. So the bars are closed, the
oh,
clubs are closed.
okay. So
It was
oh my
like I kicked
God.
all of
You're
the
like,
guys to the curb. I was like, I'm not dating anybody. I'm like, I am taking this
I am
seriously. Like I
oh my
meant
God.
it. Like a
That is
hundred
so
percent.
funny.
When
You're
I was
like,
like,
I can't date. Like, I can't go on Tinder. I can't go on, what I don't know, Match, whatever. Is it,
I will be single, but I will be happy because I achieved my goal, hopefully, at the end of all of this.
okay, that is the funniest thing ever. So it's COVID, which was, whoa, that was a very heavy time in my world because, of course, and everyone's world, but in terms of bar prep, I had all these applicants like yourself. We had, was it a remote test or were you still in
You were the
person?
first remote test that took place, and you
Oh,
had
okay.
navigated us through that to a T, where we
Oh,
knew exactly like you got to switch up your whole bar prep course to
oh my
train us.
gosh.
Okay, we're using computers now. Learn
It
how
was
to be
so
by yourself.
stressful. Like
Yeah,
behind the scenes, it wasn't stressful in the sense of like I knew how to maneuver it. I knew I could pivot, right? I could, that's
yeah.
my job. But what was stressful was that the state bar, understandably so, the times were so uncertain. They kept changing everything. So every
Like
month was a new, yeah,
we didn't know there was going to be a July bar exam because of COVID. And then they're
right,
like, oh, we're pushing it out to October, which again, in my favor, that's like, a few more months of extra study time. Thank God.
right, right.
It we were the guinea pigs for the first remote bar exam. And that was
Totally.
stressful.
Yes. So yeah, because that July exam got pushed out to October. So you ended up
Yeah.
having more study time and then
Yeah.
you went into the October, which I thought was really beneficial for those October applicants.
Absolutely.
But of course,
Absolutely.
some were like, I just want to take the bar and like get it done.
So I had like
Um,
6 months of
okay. So you
nothing,
just froze
no
for a
life.
little bit. All right.
Oh, are we good now?
Yeah, we're good. She'll edit it out. It's
Okay.
okay. So,
I had 6 months of no social life. But I was working out and studying. My face was on a freaking laptop for 12 hours a day, and I was
you're just
at the gym for
freezing for
like
another
an
moment.
hour a day, and I did that for
There
six
you are.
months.
So wait, sorry, that just cut out. So we'll just kind of go over it again. So you
For
were
6 months,
studying, no going
I was
out.
yeah, no social life, no friends, no dating, nothing. My face was on a laptop for 6 months, 12 hours a day, and
This
that's
is
it.
what it takes, everybody. This is what it takes. Okay. So you and what would you say the difference was, if you recall, with the CA bar style methodology? I mean, what would you say are like the three main, if you were to break it down, that really helped you this time?
Number one, your outlines are golden. For the first time in 4 years, it clicked in my head. The light bulb went off. The way you describe and outlined each and every subject, I wish I had that in law school, because then I would have like the light bulb would have gone off and I would have understood, everything that I was supposed to. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
for the first time, it made sense what I was learning,
Right.
and I didn't have to just memorize stuff that I had no idea what it, what it meant.
Right.
Um, Number two is the accountability. Your weekly, or I think we had Zoom calls weekly.
Mhm.
Um, that was a huge help for me because you held me accountable. It was like, okay, you're not going to just sit back in Shauna's class and be a nobody. Like, she knows who you are. She will get
Mhm.
on you and tell you to handle your work and make sure you're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah,
That
because
was
here's
also
the thing. I know
for
what it
me.
takes to get it done. So if I'm not seeing that progress, of course, everything needs to be constructive, but I am going to
Yeah,
let the applicant know. And I've gotten a lot better because initially I was in the beginning years, I was like a little insecure, timid to tell an applicant, like, it's not looking your way, right? It's not looking good. We've got to, figure out what's going on here or maybe postpone to another exam. So
yeah.
thanks for saying that because it's important, that accountability. And the third one?
The third one was just the motivation, the positive mindset that you brought. I mean, yeah, we all have, personal life getting in the way of bar prep all the time, but you were the biggest advocate of put your personal life aside. It's going to come at you and try to steer you away from your focus away from all of this, but it's like you have to literally put all of that away and just focus on you and yourself. You are the most important person right now for the next 6 months. It's not
It's
your
okay to
husband.
be selfish, right?
There
It's
you
okay
go.
to be
There you go.
selfish. And that's a
Yeah.
hard thing to kind of wrap your head around because a lot of us are big givers or we have people we have to worry about or think about, but it is a very selfish test. And you do have to be extremely focused and somewhat egocentric while you're taking it. And that's the way you do it. And then you can cater to everybody else again. So, okay, you take it this third time and ta-da, and you
Oh,
pass.
this is probably I mean, I'm not married, but like this is the biggest, most important life event that I've had in my life. Like
Isn't
it
that
is
crazy that I still
insane.
remember my results too. Like I was running around our apartment at the time like just elated, just so happy and you remember that, right?
The
It doesn't
nerves, let
never
me
forget
tell you,
it.
the nerves of that day when bar results come out, I was sick to my stomach. Like I was
Mhm.
working at the time at a law firm trying to keep my mind together. I go home. It was just me and my mom. I open up my laptop. 6 o'clock comes on. I check the
Mhm.
results, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like, is this real?" I look closer. It's there. I take a screenshot with my friend. All my friends knew
I love
too
it.
that my bars were coming out, and they're like, "Megan, like, what happened?" Like, and a few of them were like afraid to reach out because they didn't know how I would react. My best
Uh-huh.
friend didn't want to reach out to me because we also were on the same boat
Did
here.
she pass?
She passed.
Her third time also?
Yeah.
I love that story. What a beautiful story of friendship and support.
My friends and my family were like, "Get over here. We're gonna have a party. Like, let's celebrate. Like, this is a
Where
huge
was
accomplishment."
I? Why wasn't I part of this party? I need to be. We need to go do something. Well, we're gonna have a party soon. Our 15
Yes,
year
yeah.
party is
Yes,
coming
yes,
up, and oh, you're
yes.
gonna come. I'm a little scared for you to come. Not gonna lie. I don't know. I don't know if I can hang anymore in my 40s, but I'll do my best. So congratulations, you passed the exam. Your perseverance and hard work and believing in the program and staying on track. I remember you extremely focused and determined and this tenacity of I'm not doing this again. And sometimes it's that simple mantra that really gets you to the finish line because even on the hard days you're saying I'm never doing this again. And I want to point out that when we talk about the mantras and we talk about the state of mind during the bar prep, you really can't just kind of say I need to pass, I have to pass because that's a lot of
How do
pressure,
you want
right?
it? For
Yeah, how
me, it
bad
was
do you want it? I love that. How bad do you want it? Okay, I'm going to be thinking about that after the show. How bad do you want it? Some things that's not good to say for, but other things, it's good. Just depends what's on the table. So now we're going to get to your practice life. And I know that I've been following you on Instagram because, I always look at what the students are up to after they take the course, what their practicing is like. And it's always, always makes me very proud. So what have the last couple of years been like for you in your practice?
So I
Where are we?
practice personal injury. I am a trial attorney at the Drake Law Firm, and
Litigator, Drake Law
having
Firm. Where is the
every
Drake Law Firm? Let's give it a little plug. Where is the
we're in
Drake Law
Woodland
Firm?
Hills,
Woodland
Woodland Hills,
Hills. Okay.
Vanessa and Ventura, across from the In and Out. Come say
Okay.
hi.
Nice. You go meet your client, and then you go out for In and Out for some lunch.
It's
Okay.
dangerous having the In and Out
Dangerous.
across the street, but
I'm sure.
anyways,
Okay. Yeah, but you work out a lot. I see. You're
I do.
keeping in
Yes, I'm
shape.
very into working out.
Yes. What's your favorite workout?
He kills me every single work. I have a personal trainer, so he kills me
Yeah, me
every
too.
single.
My trainer
Monday,
kills me
Wednesday,
too.
and Friday, I'm there.
3 days. Okay, I do 4. I know but it's so important to have that training because I don't know if I would get there without that structure. But in any event, so you're practicing in personal injury. You're a litigator. What is
Yes.
that like? Have you found any kind of obstacles? Maybe not call them obstacles, but any highlights about being a female litigator? Because I have so many stories of not being
100%.
taken seriously. Right? Let's talk about that. Mhm.
I mean, I'm young as it is. I'm 32, but
Yeah, you
when I
look
started
super
practicing,
young.
when I started practicing, I was 30, and I would show up for Zoom depositions, and they said, "Oh, okay, great. Like, is the attorney coming?" And I was like, "Hi, the attorney is right here." I would
That is
walk
so
into
terrible. Is the attorney coming? Referring to you, like as if
absolutely
you're the paralegal,
a
right?
paralegal. Yeah,
Or
I
the
said, "Hi,
admin.
she's
Okay. Right.
And I would get comments made by even older female attorneys from defense
Mm,
counsel that would be like, "Oh,
mm.
sweetie, like I have genes that are older than you." And I'm like, "Thank you so much."
No. They would say that? "I have
Yeah.
genes older than you?" What did you respond to that?
I mean, I keep it professional. I said, "Thank you." Like, I know I'll
Good for
laugh, I'll
you.
joke about it,
Right. Ha ha. Ha
Like
ha. They're
when
just trying to
you
dig.
write me a client a check, that's when I'll laugh. So
Yes. Okay, everyone, you want her representing you. Do you see that
yeah,
confidence? Love that. So we just brush it off. We don't engage in that. But that is so
no,
rude. My dad he is, but he's retired now, a litigator for 45 years. And I was practicing with him initially, and I was in court, and another female attorney said, are you the assistant to Mr. Carpellis? And I had a briefcase in my hand,
oh my
one
God.
of those yellow pads. So clearly I looked like the part of the lawyer, right? But I don't know. Why do you think it is that female attorneys, especially the new entry level attorneys, right? The looking young, maybe dressed younger, like more, I don't know exactly. I don't want to stereotype. I don't want to get any crap. So I'm trying to watch what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
good,
But
good.
but why do you think that is? I mean, do you think it's just gender
It's a
stereotype?
predominantly male industry. I mean,
Mhm.
most of the defense attorneys, or even the plaintiff attorneys that I work with, they are
Right.
in their 50s and 60s, and they're white and they're male, and they look at me and they're like, "Oh, okay, your bar number is a 3. Like, did you get licensed yesterday?" And I'm like, "That's fine. Like, I may have gotten licensed in 2021, but I've been
Wait, Megan,
practicing personal
can
injury."
you repeat that? You
Yeah.
froze for a little bit. You froze for a little
Pardon?
bit. Can you repeat that part? Okay, about the
Yeah. So look
I
at
asked
like my
you,
bar number
why do you think
and
that is?
say,
Yeah, why I said, why do you think that is? Yeah.
they'll look at my bar number and they're like, "Oh, it starts with a 3." And I'm, the other side, the attorney has a bar number with a 1. And they look at you and I think they think like going into like a trial, for example, they'll be like, "Oh, I got this in the bag." And I
Right.
love surprising people because I mean, this is not my first rodeo. I've been doing
Mhm.
personal injury, working in an office like since I was like 21. So this is
Wow.
like I know the ins and outs of all of it. So when I show up to trial and I'm prepared and I know how to navigate the ins and outs and think on my feet, like
Having a
I
little bit of
surprise
connection
people. And in my
issues.
first trial, I got offered a job by the defense attorney who was shocked that I held myself, so well. So that was interesting.
Okay. So, by the way, I hate to do this, but that entire part just cut out. So, I don't know what
Oh,
the connection. I know. So, we're just going to back it up a little bit. So,
okay.
I was saying, why do you think that happens? And you said because
My
my
bar
bar
number is
number. Mhm.
3. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, she just got licensed yesterday, and maybe this is her first job in a law office." And I
Mhm.
surprise a lot of people because I've been doing personal injury since I was 21, working for a law
Mm.
firm as a receptionist, getting their coffee and answering their phones. So
Mhm.
this is
Mhm.
definitely not my first rodeo. I had a funny story where my first trial, I had the defense attorney, also male, older, and he thought he was going in there and this was going to be an easy, win for him. And he
Mhm.
ended up offering me a job after the
Ooh.
case settled.
Is this
I was
the
like,
firm
thank
you're
you.
working for now? Oh, you're like, I'm good.
I was like, I'm good on the plaintiff side. I could never be a defense attorney, but thank you. And I'm flattered.
Right. Well, that's so amazing to hear how much you're killing it. I mean, I had no doubt you would, and I'm so proud of you. And I can just see you in the courtroom. I would be scared to be in the courtroom opposed to you. I think that for anyone listening, it's really important not to judge a book by its cover. And us female attorneys can rock it. And yeah, I had so many, many, many cases where I would sit across this like, very macho, sophisticated opposing counsel who thought that I, really knew nothing. And I was trained in a lot of different areas of law, but especially when I did construction law. And they thought like, oh, it's such a male dominated field.
Yeah.
And I would talk about mechanic liens and I knew about drywall, right? And plumbing because
For
my
you.
father trained me on all this stuff. And then they would just be silent, right? But of course, they'd always think I was there with the clipboard, just kind of as the little assistant, not the attorney. So you do have to sometimes pave your way. And I'm okay with that. Like, I have no problem proving myself. It actually excites me. And I think
Yeah.
it probably excites you too. So, what about in your personal life? I know that there's been a heavy road there that's gone on. Let's talk about that. If you'd be
I
so on, so if you'd bless
absolutely.
us with that information.
I 2 years into my practice, I had gotten diagnosed with breast cancer, and this was completely something out of the blue where my mom had actually just finished her treatment in her battle with breast cancer. So me going
Wow.
into this, I was in denial for a while. I was like, no, like that's not me. Like I'm
How
gonna
did
turn it.
you Can I ask, how did you and of course, if there's anything that you don't want me to ask, just let me know. I want to make sure you're
I'm an open
100%
book. I'm an
comfortable.
open book.
You're
You put
open
anything
book.
on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Because I think a lot of women, need to hear this. We need to make sure that we do our checks. So, how did you detect it? Did you feel a lump? What happened?
I noticed something different, like a discoloration or a bump on my left nipple. And that's
Mm-hmm.
something that it was like protruding almost out of my nipple. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that was not there yesterday. And it was just there today. And I asked
Within
my
a
mom,
day. Within a
within
day,
a
you
day.
noticed.
Yeah. And she was
Wow.
like, "You need to go to Kaiser and get checked right now." And I go into Kaiser and I'm like, "Hi, I need a mammogram." And they're like, "I'm sorry, how old are you?" Like,
Right.
we don't just give mammograms to 30-year-olds. And I
Hmm.
was like, "You're going to give me one."
Mm.
And this situation, and
Gotta
I had to be
advocate for
you
your
have to
health.
be proactive, yes. And
Yes.
so I went through the whole, diagnostic testing, and then they confirmed my diagnosis like a week before I was supposed to start my first trial.
Wow, I have chills.
And I was just like, I don't have time to deal with this
What
right
did you
now.
feel like?
It was a shock. I was, like I said, I was in denial. I was like, I don't have time for this. I just worked so hard to pass the bar exam and I'm just starting my career. I'm not letting this derail my life. It was more of like an inconvenience for me. And I was like, again, I was like, I'm going to go into my first trial, give it my all, and I will deal with this after. That was my game plan.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you literally put aside any treatment or second opinion or anything like that, and you actually litigated the trial?
I litigated the trial. I already had a scheduled surgery date at that time. Like I was just like, okay,
Okay.
you know what? Let's go ahead and just take my breasts. I don't want them anymore if they're going to be, that harmful to me. Um,
Wow.
Scheduled surgery
You
date.
are my hero.
I didn't even tell my boss, my coworkers, only my close family knew at that time. And I was like, I want to prove myself. Like my career is what's most important to me. I don't care about this stupid breast cancer diagnosis. Like I said, I was in denial. I was like, I'm not dealing with this right now.
Okay.
And I had my first trial and I lost, but it was a tough case. But
You
that's the one where
actually didn't lose. You went into your first trial after a very devastating diagnosis that at the time makes sense. You want to block out. You've been through so much with the bar exam and law school and all. I mean, I might have like tears accumulating. It's so inspirational. And then you have this trial. You win that trial, by the way. I know you lost it, but I'm saying in essence, right? It was a
I
win.
get very sick. Yeah.
And then does it hit you? Does it hit you like I
I
have breast cancer?
It hit me like a couple days before my surgery when I was like, oh crap. Like, and that's when I had reached out to like my coworkers and I put like a little social media post on. I'm like, hey guys, going through this. I would, I could use all the support and the hugs that you guys can give. And my litigation team at Drake Law Firm, we are like, this is my second family. Like we
That's
are
beautiful.
so close. We are at each other's husbands and kids' birthday parties. We're going to a
Wow.
hockey game tonight together. Like
That's so
we are
lucky.
so close. And I had the entire team come down to my office and they were wishing me, good luck, anything you need, you got this.
Mhm.
Like you're going to get breast cancer. So
You're
great
so
support system.
strong, Megan. You're so strong. And so you go into it was a double mastectomy, right?
It was a double mastectomy I had, and it was interesting because when they opened me up, my tumor was the size of a grapefruit. So we're talking like this. It consumed my entire breast, and they said there's no way that this was growing in you for maybe the last 2 weeks. So like this took at least 3 or 4 years to accumulate. So I had
And no
technically breast
symptoms.
cancer
No
inside my mom.
symptoms in 3 or 4 years?
I felt fine. Like physically I felt fine. There was no way I would have known unless I had that visual abnormality on my breast that I noticed.
Wow. So
Crazy.
that's crazy. The size of a grapefruit? That
Yeah.
is crazy. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to just like process all of this and I'm trying to host this episode right now, but I want to come and give you like a big hug.
Oh my
But
God, it was so cute.
you get the double mastectomy, and how does that feel as a woman? I mean, we're always
It's
so,
so
the society is
complicated.
so fixated on our breasts and right
Yeah.
and women's, and you're just like cut them off. Like
I
eh,
said take them. They told me I could get the reconstructive surgery, and I said that's fine. I'll opt in for that. But it was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I haven't given
so
birth to my own
sorry.
children, but it was extremely painful. And my only thought was like, when can I go back to work? Like I need to get back to
That's
work.
your thought.
Yeah,
Not
I
I'm in
wanted
this
to get
extreme.
back.
I mean,
I'm not a very good home buddy. Like I hate
yeah,
being
me
home. I
neither.
like, being out either at work or with my friends. Like, do not lock me in my house for 2 weeks. I will go crazy.
I mean, you
So
are the epitome of no excuses, right? Even through
yeah,
the whole journey that you went through with law school and the bar exam, you're working, you're a go-getter. I mean, that's clearly your personality. And then you
yeah,
have this cancer diagnosis and you're still going. And I've dealt with cancer in my life tremendously. My mother passed away from it. My aunt has it. I had a cousin, a niece. I mean, not a niece, excuse me, aunt, two aunts, excuse me. And it really is a mindset to get through it, right? I mean, like
absolutely.
I can tell you from my mom, she was just like, she gave up, I think, the second she had the diagnosis. Whereas I've seen other family members and friends, they're like, this isn't going to beat me. And when they have that mentality, no, I think it really helps the process, right, and the healing. So good for you for having that mindset,
I mean, I saw
going
my mom
through.
go through this entire process the last 2, 3 years. And so I knew exactly what she was going through. And I'm just like, okay, well, am I going to have to go through chemotherapy? Am I going to have to go through radiation? Am I going to lose my entire hair? Like all of that was going through my mind. But I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get back to let's put this behind me. Like if the doctor says I need this treatment, let's go ahead and do it. Thank God I didn't need chemotherapy and I just did radiation therapy.
Mhm.
Um,
Did you lose your
but
hair?
I didn't know. Thank God I didn't have to do
It looks
chemotherapy.
beautiful.
So thank you.
Wow. I just
But
want to give you like such a round of applause for, I mean, this is the definition of perseverance, right?
it's
And
all
I,
about
yeah, the
yeah.
mindset that I
Mhm.
have chills like up and down my body. And so how are you feeling today? How are you feeling now?
I'm
Like, are
good.
you
I had my
cancer
second
free?
cancer free. I had my second surgery January 2nd
I
of this
saw
year.
that. Hmm.
Complete plans, and they said you're going to be off for 3 months, blah blah. And I was back at work in a week. So
So the doctor tells you, okay, so moral of the story is Megan doesn't listen to anybody,
no,
and that's okay. That's how you live your life. That's your story.
I
And
went snowboarding the day
no, you
after
did
I
not.
finished my radiation treatment, and my
No,
doctors are like, "What is wrong with you?"
but that's that c'est la vie. That's that spirit of life. And when you have that and you have that mentality, it really can
Yeah,
get you through anything. And I haven't had that my whole life. It took having major trauma for me to get through some major life events, to then say, okay, I have tools to do this. And but I think also what you exhibit so well is this love of life. And you're like, I'm going to take the bar, but I'm also going to keep living, and I'm going to have breast cancer, but I'm going to have a surgery and then go snowboarding. And I find that to be absolutely enlightening and beautiful, really. So it's a
my love
culmination.
for the law and my passion, and I know how hard I work to get to where I am right now in my career. And I'm like, I'm not going to let cancer just take this away from me. And like,
Wow.
what are we going to do to put this behind me so I can continue to have a successful career? I have goals in my career. I want to become an Abota member. Like all of this that is
You
on my
will.
bucket.
I
Yeah,
have no
and I was like,
doubt.
so we're
Whatever
still
you
having
put your mind to, girl, you are going to accomplish. I can guarantee
to
you that. Can you
do.
take everyone? I know for those listening, they won't be able to see it, But for anyone that watches this the video, can you take everyone around your office? I want them to see the pink, all the.
My favorite color is pink. So I have a pink stapler mouse
But that's the
pad.
breast cancer awareness color too, right? Like the.
This amazing mug that I have. That
Beautiful.
says fighter.
Oh, I love
Awesome.
that. Oh, you are definitely a fighter.
And my couch is pink.
Your couch is. Oh, you have a couch. Look at that
Yes.
nice setup there.
And my one
Look
of my favorite quotes is this, which I have on my wall. It says, "Your comfort zone will kill you."
Ooh, I
But you have
love
to
that.
learn as an attorney, and I think even as a bar prep student, like get out of your comfort zone because that's the only way you're going to grow, learn. I've learned to be okay with failure because you always end up learning something out of that.
Your
So
comfort zone will kill you. That is a perfect way to end this incredible episode of resilience, perseverance. You are such a fighter. Your mindset is something to be really admired. And I couldn't be prouder of you. Thank you so much for coming on. This was such an amazing discussion. I know for a fact you're going to
this is
inspire
possible because of you,
thousands.
Shannon. I should be thanking you. You make
Don't
this
make me
possible.
cry. I'm tearing up. Well,
Like
listen, I
that.
appreciate the credit. I really do. But as I'm sure anyone listening to this, hearing this story today, Megan, it's you. It's you that got this done. It's you that persevered. It's you that went through taking the bar multiple times, working through law school, getting cancer, having a double mastectomy. Keep pushing on, keep going. And it is so inspiring. And I'm so excited to share your story with everybody. And I can't wait to see what you're going to do in the future. I know such big things are coming for you. So please keep in touch. And hopefully we'll get to do a follow up episode soon. Your law firm again is the Drake Law Firm in Woodland Hills. If anyone needs personal injury, I think we all know we want Megan representing us. And so you do plaintiff or defense work?
Plaintiff's work, yes.
Plaintiff work. Okay. Well, hopefully we don't have any personal injury stuff going on. I don't wish that on anybody, but if you do, the Drake Law Firm, yeah, call her. All right. Well, I'm going to not get out of my comfort zone, but I am going to end this episode. It's been delightful. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you in person soon and have a drink. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Please,
Have a beautiful day, Megan. Thanks for sharing your story. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.